¿Qué onda? Aztlan Weekly is a volunteer-based community news outlet. Our work is brought to you by the contributions of El Partido Nacional de la Raza Unida, PNLRU, also known as La Raza Unida Party. If you're interested in learning more about the party or want to join, visit www.razaunidaparty.org. Our show is also brought to you by Maíz Poppin' Press, a raza-based publisher producing cultura para la raza. ¡Órale! For more info, visit their webpage, www.maizpoppin.com, or find them on social media by searching at Maíz Poppin' Press, and keep a lookout for their book, Once Upon a Time in Occupied Aztlan by El Indio, copyright 1985. Lastly, Aztlan Weekly is made possible by you, the listener. If interested in offering further contributions or support, visit www.aztlanweekly.com. And now, on with the show.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Ernesto Ayala, and this is Aztlan Weekly.
Califa Aztlán. Nuevo México Aztlán. Arizona Aztlán. Nevada Aztlán. Color Aztlán. Texas Aztlán. Utah Aztlán.
Genaro Ayala, former chairman of El Partido Nacional de la Raza Unida, and an important lifelong organizer for the liberation of not only Chicanos but of all peoples, passed away recently in late July 2026. Aztlan Weekly reflects on this important figure in our community and his contributions. Genaro's great-grandmother first came to the valley in the 1900s from Arizona. He spent his life in the LA area as a vallero. Genaro was part of the Chicano moratorium in Los Angeles in 1970, and in 1971, he helped establish a local chapter of Raza Unida. He helped to build Raza Unida and weathered police, infiltration, and COINTELPRO. Genaro also wrote his name with an X after Malcolm X. He married Marta Martinez and raised a family and worked in educación. Locally, Genaro aided in organizing the commemoration of the Chicano moratorium and fought for many local issues that affect Raza. While time has revealed many elders in El Movimiento who were only looking out for themselves rather than La Raza, Genaro remained an elder who kept the flame of resistance alive for decades, and moreover offered valued advice for social justice organizers who gained much from hearing from someone who dealt with and reflected upon the adversity faced in the exploitative capitalist society against us all. Many Raza today involved in social justice and creative outlets cite and owe much to Genaro's vision and wisdom. Don Genaro reminds us that he is an enduring example for all and will be remembered for the clarity he gave many to resist the lies of oppression and to organize for the truth of liberation. La lucha sigue, Genuino Ayala presente. Long may your memory reign.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Chingona World, together with the Chicano Elegance Foundation, is looking for a poem about one simple question. What does it mean to be Chicano? We're calling it the Flower and Song Poetry Competition, inspired by the Nahuatl tradition of poetry as flower and song. So here's your chance to add your voice to that tradition. Write us a poem about what being Chicano means to you. It can be about your familia, your cultura, your history, your barrio, your identity, your contradictions, and your dreams, or anything else that makes you say, this is what Chicano means to me. The winning poet gets 2 tickets to the 2026 Chicano Elegance Gala in San Bernardino on September 26th. That's a night of art, fashion, live entertainment with an open bar, gift suite, and red carpet. And your poem doesn't stop there. It'll be published in Yoli magazine and printed in whole or in part on a Chingona World t-shirt. Profits from the shirt will support the Chicano Elegance Foundation and its work preserving, celebrating, and elevating Chicano culture. There's just one rule. Your poem can't have already been published or won another competition. Send your entries to askachingona@gmail.com. That's askachingona@gmail.com. The deadline is September 1st, 2026. Flower and Song, write yours.
Now news from our camarada Hashid Quintos desde Centro Califa Aztlán.
World Indigenous Peoples Day in Fresno was celebrated on Saturday, August 8th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the West Fresno Center on the Fresno City College campus. The free, family-friendly event was hosted by the Chicano Youth Center of Fresno in partnership with Grupo Tonalcalco, with support from the Office of Community Affairs and other community partners. Attendees gathered in the multi-purpose room at 600 East Church Avenue for a vibrant celebration honoring the rich cultures, traditions, and contributions of indigenous peoples from around the world. The event featured a diverse lineup of performances that reflected the multicultural fabric of Fresno's indigenous and allied communities. Grupo Tonalcalco brought traditional indigenous music and dance, while Leonard Pineflower offered cultural presentations. The celebration also included a lion dance performance representing Chinese traditions, and Hmong dancers who shared their community's cultural heritage through movement and regalia. Marta Bareneche also performed, adding to the rich tapestry of voices and art on display. A vendor fair offered local crafts, food, and resources, making it a full community gathering. With the North Fork Rancheria and other local indigenous groups involved, the event highlighted the ongoing presence and resilience of indigenous peoples in the Central Valley, including the region's original Yokuts and Mono tribal communities, as well as the many indigenous and diaspora cultures that call Fresno home today. The celebration served as a space for education, solidarity, and joy, reminding the community that indigenous peoples are not just a part of history, but a vibrant, living presence in the valley.
Now, Nuevo Mexique, Aztlán, news brought to us by our camarada, Pojaque en Española, Coyote, Petra, Salazar.
The frijoles fire in northern Nueva Mexico burns. The land will be okay in a couple of centuries, and most buildings are old adobe mud, which is naturally fire resistant. These are shrub-studded llanos and cottonwood valleys, and big, very, very old forests. If the fire goes south towards Santa Fe, it'll take out mostly Epstein-protected millionaires and rich white hippie and hippie settlers. If the fire goes west, it'll take out El Santuario, my family homes and graves. Then further west, it threatens the LA laboratories, and it would destroy native reservations all along the way there, pueblos that are currently sitting atop of nuclear graveyards from the 1940s and 50s. If the fire indeed does go north and east, it will devastate the most beautiful forest on earth, along with some tiny old villages. The Frijoles fire is named after the river where it started in Santa Fe County.
Next, our camarada Robert Ramirez desde Color Aztlán reports.
This is Robert Ramirez reporting for Aztlan Weekly. Before we begin, we acknowledge the land beneath our feet. We are reporting from Denver, Colorado, on the traditional homelands of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples, and a place that has long been a gathering ground for many indigenous nations. We also recognize another layer of this land's history. In Mexica tradition, Aztlan was the ancestral homeland from which the Mexica people journeyed south toward the Valley of Mexico. Its exact location remains unknown, and some traditions and interpretations have placed Aztlan somewhere in the lands we now call the American Southwest, including some areas of Colorado. Whether understood as a physical place, a cultural memory, or a symbol of indigenous origins, Aztlan continues to carry meaning for many Chicano communities. We honor the indigenous peoples who have cared for these lands since time immemorial, recognize the history of dispossession and forced removal, and honor the native communities who continue to live, work, and thrive here today, including our Chicano communities. This is Aztlan Weekly, bringing you the news and stories from our radio to yours. Let's jump right in. A controversial mural at Denver International Airport is back on display, and it's bringing all those old conspiracy theories with it. I know you've heard of these. The mural, In Peace and Harmony with Nature, was created by Denver Chicano artist Leo Tanguma, with help from his daughter Leticia. It shows children and animals surrounded by destruction before transitioning into images of people coming together to restore nature. For years, people have claimed Tanguma's murals contain hidden messages about fascism, the New World Order, or even secret societies. But Tanguma has been clear. The murals are about war, environmental destruction, hope, justice, and humanity coming together. And from a Chicano perspective, there's a bigger story here. Tanguma's work comes from the tradition of Mexican muralism, where artists like Diego Rivera, Orozco, Siqueiros, they used public art to tell stories about war, workers, inequality, and social struggle. So maybe the real story isn't the conspiracy. Maybe it's that a Chicano artist put a massive piece of social commentary in one of Denver's most visited public spaces. And decades later, we're still talking about it.
Our camarada, yours truly, Christian Williams Vigil, desde El Chuco, o sea, El Paso, Texaxlan, Texas, reports. On the evening of August 4, 2026, residents in the central area of El Paso were alarmed by what many described as a strong smell that raised concerns about safety. South of I-10 is the Marathon Petroleum Refinery that is surrounded by suburban neighborhoods that are composed of predominantly elderly individuals and Chicano Raza families. Concerned citizens attempted to call the refinery and 911 to seek guidance and assistance about the situation. Firemen who came to evaluate homes stated that many were dismissed and told that the refinery was releasing gas that was non-toxic and did not pose a health risk. Local social media news and community event site FitFam El Paso reported comments and updates on the situation. Many El Pasoans turned to this news source as they put out community news at a faster pace than most of the local news outlets in town. People in the comments were reporting headaches, stomach aches, dizziness, and leaving their homes altogether. However, many were worried about the elders in the area, as they do not tend to use social media, nor do they have the privilege to leave so easily. On Wednesday morning, a thick, dense smog covered up most of the Franklin Mountains and prevented views into Juarez, Chihuahua. Central El Pasoans reported continued experiences of headaches and dizziness, but also felt symptoms of breathing issues. The strong fume-like scent was even reported in the western part of town. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality reported that the Marathon Petroleum Refinery, quote, released tons of pollutants into the air for hours, end quote. On Tuesday and Wednesday, it was 862 pounds of sulfur dioxide, 19 pounds of 1-3 butadiene, and 8,897.9 pounds of propylene to be exact. Calculations done by the agency's report stated that the emissions limit is supposed to be 0.01 pound per hour, which puts this incident at 3,591 times over the required limit. Luego llegó la lluvia. Due to the high concentration of propylene in the air, El Pasoans were warned that the showers could cause acid rain. On Friday, August the 7th, the thick smog seemed to have dissipated, but the feelings of anger, upset, and concern among the people of El Paso have not. Some of these sentiments stem from previous issues with the refinery when it was under Paul Foster and his company. Community members have a history of collecting signatures, protesting the harmful emissions, and have experienced severe lung issues. Commissioner David C. Stout put out a statement on Friday, August the 7th. Quote, Marathon Petroleum's disdainful treatment of neighboring families and the elected officials who represent them is entirely unacceptable, end quote. He went on to say, quote, they must be held accountable. This incident underscores the urgent need for the refinery to work collectively with local leaders to keep our communities safe, implement more rigorous monitoring in surrounding neighborhoods, and keep the public honestly informed, end quote. For now, the residents of El Paso and Juarez are left to wait and see how the refinery will respond to this situation and hear the demands of accountability.
We'll be right back after a word from our contributors.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Scott Russell Duncan, a Chicano writer, editor, and AztlanWeekly reporter with the widest name. AztlanWeekly is produced in association with Maiz Poppin' Press, where we publish radical imagination and resistance writing that pops. Visit maizpoppin.com. We're also in association with the Palabras del Pueblo Writing Workshop, an affordable and accessible online workshop that centers La Raza and strengthens our own literary institutions, writing that speaks to our community first and loudest. More at palabrasdelpueblo.com.
Elvira Zamora, founder, creative director of the Chicano Elegance Foundation. We started this journey in 2023 by creating a space where we not just come together, but we are celebrating each other. We don't need anyone's acknowledgement. We don't need to be seen by the outsiders that othered us. This is just for us. This is a night where we show off our beauty, our intelligence, our elegance, our grit, our power, and we'll collectively come together to show ourselves that we are worthy of beautiful, luxurious, and all of the things that this earth has to offer. Before we ever were tainted by these negative thoughts of we're not worthy or we're beneath anybody else, this is a night to reclaim it. This is protest through celebration. We come out on the red carpet, we perform, we show off our fashion, we exchange ideas, we connect, we support each other's businesses. That is the foundation of the gala and the Chicano Elegance. That is the message, that is our mission. You can find us at chicanoelegance.com, where you'll find all the information on how to stay in touch, support us, come out to our next events, and also how to purchase our publications that we have at the moment, which is our limited edition
coffee table picture book. And this is when you open it and look at all the beautiful imagery in there. That's what I want people to be inspired by. So you're going to see elders, you're going to see young people, you're going to see pachucos, you're going to see the homies.
As well as our quarterly magazine called Yoli, which is short for Yolo, and that means heart in Nahuatl, where we print these incredible stories from everybody in the community who is out there chasing their dreams no matter the obstacles. And that's what it's all about. Reclaiming our mental and our emotional health in a place that is set on destroying it. That is the essence of the Chicano Elegance Foundation. Find us again at chicanoelegance.com. on all social media under Chicano Elegance. And once again, be proud of who you are. Show up, head held high, as we are nothing to be ashamed of. We are the blueprint. We are beautiful. We are everything they say we're not. And what better way to do it than by showing up and feeling it?
And now back to Aztlan Weekly. And back to Nuevo Mexicaslan, our camarada desde Crazy Town, Andrea Martinez reports.
This is Andrea Martinez coming to you from Roswell, New Mexico, Aztlan. With a heavy heart, I am sharing this FBI notice seeking information about 3 murders in Roswell during June and July of 2026. Kent Hoffman, born in 1969, was found in the Hondo River Channel on June 14th. Andrew Lujan Huerta, born in 1979, was also found in the Hondo River Channel on July 14th. And Carl Offsprung, born in 1967, was found approximately 10 miles east of Roswell on July 29th. Knowing these are the people I served and cared for in our community makes this especially heartbreaking. Carl with the K, as he always said, was my friend, and he is going to be deeply missed by all of us who knew him. The FBI, the Chavez County Sheriff's Office, and the Roswell Police Department are asking for the public's help in solving these 3 cases. If you have any information about these men and their deaths or information concerning anyone missing from Roswell, please contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip online. Someone may have information that could bring answers and justice to these families and our community. Thank you very much.
Our camarada Andrea Martinez also reports.
A community forum in Chavez County on August 10th focused on data centers, water, economic development, and the future of our community. The meeting was presented as an educational forum, not a public hearing, and not a discussion on one specific project. 3 men led the presentation: Steve Dodson, who opened and moderated the meeting, Mike Espiritu, president of the Economic Development Corporation, and Matthew Gonzalez, founder of CEO of Chingon Strategy, who gave the main presentation. Gonzalez explained that the data centers support modern systems including banking, medical records, government communications, national security, and artificial intelligence. His message was that communities should become informed, ask questions, negotiate for benefits rather than automatically accepting or rejecting development. Water was the biggest concern raised by the community. Gonzalez acknowledged that New Mexico is a water-limited state and discussed alternatives to fresh water, including brackish water, municipal wastewater, and produced water from oil and gas operations. He also criticized the state for moving too slowly on regulations governing produced water reuse. Gonzalez cited Project Jupiter in Donna Ana County, saying that 4 buildings would require approximately 2.5 gallons each for their initial fill and about 10 gallons total. But residents wanted to know where the water would come from and how much would actually be consumed and what protections would exist for existing residents and agriculture during future shortages. Cooling technology was another concern. Gonzalez said communities should demand information about cooling systems being proposed and whether fresh water would be required. The speakers emphasized the potential economic benefits of data centers, including construction jobs, permanent jobs, tax revenue, infrastructure, investment, and business for local contractors. They also discussed possible community benefits such as investments in schools, water systems, infrastructure, workforce training, and local hiring. But residents wanted answers about what happened if the company closes, technology changes, or projects don't deliver what was promised. An attendee raised concerns about the impact of data centers on indigenous communities. Gonzalez asked for specific examples before responding. There were no examples given. Since the meeting, I have learned that indigenous communities are involved in real disputes and concerns surrounding data center development. Those concerns deserve specific answers, especially when they involve land, water, and indigenous sovereignty. There were also questions about names of the companies of projects. The presenters explained that companies sometimes use code names during economic development negotiations, but members of the community were already aware of the name of the project and the company involved. When the names were not openly identified during the presentation, it raised serious concerns about transparency. To me, it felt like important information was being intentionally left out of the conversation that was supposed to educate the community. My final observation, and I want to make clear that this next part is my personal opinion. I left this meeting feeling that the presentation was more of a sales pitch for data centers than a genuine effort to answer the questions the community actually came prepared to ask. We heard a lot about jobs, money, economic development, tourism, the UFO industry, and air shows. I also brought up marijuana sales in New Mexico as another source of revenue, but my question is, where is the money going? How much is actually improving the lives of the people in our community? After a flooding, we still have weeds that aren't taken care of, potholes that don't get fixed, and homes with mold. We have people in the community who are hungry and homeless, families who are struggling, and not enough for our community to actually do. Yet we have seen the city spend more than $1 million on lighting that many residents do not believe was necessary. So when we are told another major industry is going to bring money and economic development, I believe we are entitled to ask, what does that actually mean for the people who already live here? I'm not against economic development. I'm against being told economic development automatically means a better community. If data centers are going to use our water, electricity, land, and infrastructure, then the community deserves clear answers about what we're getting in return. Economic development should not just make the economy bigger, it should make people's lives better. And until we can see how that happens, I believe we have every right to keep asking questions.
Tensa, damas y caballeros. We seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. I don't know, just put it in the tape.
Ladies and gentlemen, we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. Please stand by.
The inaugural Radical Raza Fiction Prize is open to Raza and indigenous writers whose communities are rooted in occupied U.S. territory. We seek book-length fiction, including novels or story collections and hybrid narrative works. The winning manuscript will receive $500 upon publication with Maiz Poppin Press, who publishes radical imagination and resistance writing that pops. We are not looking for manuscripts that reaffirm the American dream, celebrate assimilation, or simply retell the immigrant experience. The Radical Raza Fiction Prize seeks resistance writing. Resistance writing is literature whose artistic vision and political imagination are inseparable. It does more than describe oppression, it imagines, organizes, and advances liberation. We're looking for prose fiction, literature, horror, fantasy, romance, mystery, slipstream, science fiction, and every other genre that denies the colonial and creates new political possibilities. The deadline is December 6th, commemorating the Battle of San Pascual. See guidelines and format requirements at mazepoppin.com/submissions/Radical Raza Fiction Contest.
Pueblo que fuerte está, tanto que
barrio, frecuencia yo patrullo, frecuencia yo patrullo por las calles de mi barrio. Yo persigo el deseo
pinche migra tan indecente. Ay, qué caray, pueblo que fuerte está, tanto que trabajamos a poder vivir en paz.
Difícil distinguir cuáles son secuestradores, cuáles son secuestradores. Es difícil distinguir. Se esconden tras el doble, a veces enmascarados, uniformes inventados, pero nos vamos a joder. Ay, qué caray, pueblo que fuerte está, tanto que trabajamos a poder vivir en paz. Ay. Nos quisieron asustar, pero nos multiplicamos, nos quisieron asustar, en los barrios nos persiguen, ahora salimos todos, ando solidarios, que se vayan los asesinos. Ay, qué caray, pueblo que fuerte está, tanto que trabajamos a poder vivir en paz. El barrio siempre está alerta, todos nos acechan, porque el cielo nos acecha. El barrio siempre está alerta, seguiremos patrullando, no nos pueden detener. Solo pueblo salva al pueblo, uno a otro hay que proteger. Ay, qué caray, pueblo que fuerte está, tanto que trabajamos a poder vivir en paz. Ay, qué caray, compadre. Ay, qué caray. Ay, qué caray, pueblo que fuerte está, tanto que trabajamos a poder vivir en paz. ¡Eso! ¡Dale, patrullero!
Thanks for hanging in there, listeners.
That was a song brought to us by our camarada Enrique Cardiel called Patrullero del Pueblo by Las Otras. This song honors the community people that have come together to provide community defense against community members being kidnapped. The group Las Otras can be found by searching Las Otras NM on Facebook and also on Instagram, Las Otras. You can also search YouTube, keyword Las Otras.
Next, news desde Arizona, Aztlán, brought to us by an anonymous Aztlan Weekly reporter.
2 stories out of the borderlands this summer where the wildlife has never much cared about the colonial line drawn through it. First, the jaguars. This June 26, Sierra Magazine reported that conservationists in northern Mexico had confirmed something they've nearly given up hoping for. Not one wandering male, but a jaguar family. It started when ranchers caught a big spotted cat on their CCTV cameras in an area where jaguars hadn't been seen in almost 40 years. Mexico's most recent national jaguar census recorded a 30% increase over 2010's numbers, and the range is moving north. Second, a bird our ancestors held sacred, the eared quetzal, cousin to the resplendent quetzal of Quetzalcoatl, lives in the Sierra Madre Occidental, but it wanders. It first stunned birders north of the border in 1977, with a family group in Arizona's Chiricahua Mountains, and has returned to at least 4 ranges since and nested. And as of the American Birding Association's Rare Bird Alert dated August 7, 2026, an eared quetzal has been recorded again in Cochise County, Arizona. Border walls, mining, and drought all cut against these crossings. But in 2026, the cats and the birds keep coming north, back into the land that has always been theirs.
Y noticias desde Los Ángeles, Sur Califas.
According to a recent Instagram post by Memelogia, Los Angeles United School District, LAUSD, is rolling out new school meals for the 2026-27 school year with a focus on fresh, culturally diverse foods, including pozole, a traditional Mexican soup made with hominy and meat in a flavorful chile-based broth. Superintendent Andres E. Chait highlighted pozole as an example of how much LAUSD's school food has changed, while the new menu also features student-created dishes such as buttered chicken with cucumber salad and a chorizo breakfast bowl. Other new offerings include a pork katsu sandwich, LA cheesesteak, and lasagna rolls, with the district saying it's using student feedback and fresh ingredients to make school meals healthier and more appealing.
Now news brought to us by our camarada Johnny War desde Tejaztlán.
¿Qué hubo? This is Johnny War reporting from San Anto, Tejaztlán. Behind the Casa Pink Coffee House at Burton Opal Studio sits a 1940s-era printing press. San Antonio's own spoken word artist, Alejandra Sanchez Alanis, the one and only Mera Mera, is using that old-school press to fight back against child detention at the Dili Immigration Center. Her creations are a fusion of art, translingual expression, and political activism. We are talking about the kinds of political prints you might expect to find on a university campus or hanging inside a government building, making a statement. Leading a collective of fellow poets and artists, Mera Mera places Chicano linguistic identity directly into the visuals. The work proudly features code switching. It represents how we as Chicanos truly speak. One print depicts a girl in a sombrero with a caption, "No hay time para chingaderas, Dili." Another features a luchador and it reads, "Lucha, trucha, close Dili." Even the Señora La Virgen de Guadalupe is represented, demanding, "What would Maria do?" Close Dili. By employing Chicano language and cultural icons, the project raises awareness and directly protests the inhumane treatment of brown families at the Dili facility. While the San Antonio Express News first reported on the creation of these protest prints back in May, the campaign has since evolved. Now armed with an entire arsenal of artwork, Mera Mera is hanging the prints at various locations throughout San Antonio for everyone to see. These prints represent a powerful synergy of poetry and art fighting atrocities against innocent people. They are a direct continuation of the resistance by our Chicano heroes during the movement. To learn more, follow Mera Mera on Instagram at Mera_SA_Mera. From San Anto, Tejaslan, I'm Johnny War reporting for Aztlan Weekly.
And in other Sur Califas news desde San Diego. Good news, Raza. Recently, a California Court of Appeal ruled that San Diego's crackdown on street vendors violates state law SB 946, which decriminalized sidewalk vending. The court found that the city's ordinance, which permitted the impounding of vendor equipment, exceeded legal authority. Consequently, local authorities have ceased enforcement, resulting in a surge of vendors in areas like Gaslamp Quarters and local beaches. Read the full story at fox5sandiego.com.
Now news desde Nevada, Nevada. According to a recent report, El Estado de Nevada is the fastest growing U.S. state with a 572% population increase between 1970 and 2025, according to a Visual Capitals report. The state's expansion, outpacing Arizona and Florida, was driven by the transformation of Las Vegas into a diverse metropolitan hub. The study highlights a national shift toward the Sun Belt and Mountain West for better climates and lower costs. Conversely, Washington, D.C., New York, and West Virginia experienced the lowest growth during this period. Read the full story at reviewjournal.com.
Y en otras noticias desde Utah, Aztlan, Utah homeowners aged 67 and older with a household income of $44,221 or less may qualify for a property tax credit of up to $1,412 through the state's Circuit Breaker program. Applicants must have owned and occupied their primary Utah residence for the full year, with applications due by September 1st. The program offers a primary abatement and secondary credit based on 20% of the home's fair market value. To receive this credit, taxpayers must submit their completed documentation to their local county government office rather than the state tax commission. Detailed information on eligibility, income tiers, and application process is available through the Utah State Tax Commission and the Clear Money Guide. For more information, visit newsbreak.com.
And now, eventos en Aztlan.
Chicano moratoriums. This August marks 56 years since the Chicano moratorium. On August 29, 1970, tens of thousands of raza marched through Islos against the Vietnam War and the disproportionate number of Chicanos being sent to the fight to die. Police attacked a peaceful demonstration, killing 3 people, including journalist Ruben Salazar. More than half a century later, our community continues to gather on August 29th to remember the moratorium and carry forward its resistance. In East Los Angeles, the 56th National Chicano Moratorium returns August 29th, continuing the tradition where the historic movement took place. For more info, search Centro CSO on Instagram. That's Centro CSO as in Central Service Organization.
Hey, hello everybody. This is Carlos Montes with Centro CSO, longtime Chicano revolutionary, inviting you to August 29 Chicano Moratorium Rally at Mariachi Plaza at 3 o'clock, demanding self-determination for the Chicano people. What is self-determination? It's Chicano power. It's economic and political power over our lives in the Southwest and the Chicano nation of Aztlan. So join us August 29, Saturday, Mariachi Plaza at 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock for a rally that demand Chicano power, self-determination for the Chicano people. Gracias. Hola, buenas tardes. Es Carlos Montes, el Chicano revolucionario aquí en Boyle Heights, invitándolos al 29 de agosto en la Mariachi Plaza a la moratoria chicana a las 3 de la tarde para demandar autodeterminación para el pueblo chicano. ¿Qué es autodeterminación? Es poder económica y política para nuestro pueblo en el suroeste. Eso es autodeterminación. Únase con nosotros el 29 de agosto, sábado, la Plaza Mariachi a las 3 de la tarde. Muchas gracias. Allá nos vemos.
And up in Oakland, Eastside Arts Alliance holds its Chicano Moratorium Block Party Saturday, August 29th, from noon to 5. Find out more at eastsideartalliance.org. In San Jose, a Chicano Moratorium commemoration is also going down August 29th at 5 p.m., organized by Community Service Organization San Jose at El Centro Cultural. Find CSO San Jose at Instagram.com/CSO_San Jose. Y también our camarada Enrique Cardiel desde Nuevo Mexico, Aztlán, New Mexico reports Porque Raza Unida will be hosting a Raza Memorial Day event on Saturday, August 29th. We will commemorate the National Chicano Moratorium, as well as all of the martyrs of the Chicano movement. La Raza Unida has sponsored an event for this date on and off over the decades. We will start at 6 p.m. at Robinson Park, downtown Albuquerque. We have endorsements by UNM, Chicana and Chicano Studies, Burke Autonomous Brown Berets, ABQ Mutual Aid, Millions for Prisoners New Mexico, Building Power for Black New Mexico, and John Brown Breakfast Club. We will have speakers, poetry, and music. We will recognize those who have died for the liberation of Chicana people, those who have died in government custody, and more. Porque la Raza Unida continues to do community safety patrols and work with others who are trying to keep the community as safe as possible. Porque Raza Unida continues community work with reading groups, fitness groups, cultural socials, and continued partnership with other organizations interested in developing power for the working class people of New Mexico and Raza everywhere.
Un evento en San Pancho, Califa, San Francisco, Galería de la Raza has an artist talk on Saturday, August 22nd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., featuring Ana Colom and Nayeli Rosas as part of Galeria's summer exhibition. Find out more at galeriadelaraza.org. Then Thursday, August 27th, Medicine for Nightmares, also in San Pancho, is screening the Chicano border classic Lone Star from 7 to 9 p.m. The movie digs into Raza and Anglo history, segregation, family, and life along the Texas border. A movie that makes every coyote cry. See more at medicinefornightmares.com. And further down south in Los Aztlangeles, El Festival Chapín takes over Lafayette Park August 29th and 30th. 7 blocks celebrating Guatemalan culture con comida, live marimba, traditional dance, artesanos, vendors, and activities for the whole family. It runs from 10 in the morning to 10 at night, and admission is free. See more at festivalchapin.com.
Y eventos en Colorado, Aztlán. In Denver, El Museo de las Americas celebrates 35 years Saturday, August 22nd, with a special anniversary concert featuring Denver's own Devochka at Su Teatro. Doors open at 7:30 and the music starts at 8. Find out more at museo.org. Y también over in Aurora, Olin Cafetzin hosts its monthly Nahuatl series Sunday, August 30th at 1 p.m. Learn and practice common greetings, numbers, and pronunciation while helping keep our indigenous languages alive. Check out olincafetzin.org.
Y un evento en Nueva Mexicatlán, New Mexico. Over in Española, Tewa Women United hosts a free grief and loss healing gathering on Thursday, August 27th from 10 to noon. The indigenous-led gathering creates a community space for dealing with grief and life's transitions through storytelling, reflection, and connection. These are also cultural practices. Registration is required. See tewawomenunited.org.
Y unos evento en Tejaztlán.
Over in San Antonio, Friday, August 28th, the Guadalupe Latino Bookstore hosts narratives of gang life in San Antonio. Sociologist Alvarado Valdez will chop it up about his 20 years studying homeboys and gang life on San Antonio's west side. He'll be joined by Chicano cultural activist and Aztlan Libre Press founder Juan Tejada for a conversation about the history, culture, and lived experiences of raza in the West Side barrios. Find out more at guadalupeculturalarts.org. Y en Aztlan, Dallas, the first ever Dallas Latino Film Festival takes over the Latino Cultural Center on September 5th. Expect películas, workshops, panels, filmmaker Q&As, and community bringing together raza filmmakers and the North Texas film scene. Find out more at lcc.dallasculture.org.
And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Aztlan y Más, porque as the saying goes, we bring Aztlan with us everywhere we go.
This is the indigenous news you should know today. First, ICE unalived Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, a Mexican father of 3 in Texas, and 26-year-old Colombian father Juan Sebastian Duran in Maine. Salgado Araujo lived in the U.S. for 35 years, had no criminal record, and was about to obtain his green card until ICE's unmarked cars tried to stop and detain him. This set off protests where hundreds of black, indigenous, Mexican, and labor activists marched in Houston's Magnolia Park. Indigenous Aztec dancers even performed a ceremony in Salgado Araujo's honor. And in Maine, community members held a vigil for Duran in Mechanics Park over the unaliving, especially since he was not even the Fed's intended target. It should be noticed that ICE has been detaining both native-descended Latinos and even U.S. Native Americans from tribes as different as the Navajo, Meskwaki, and Oglala Sioux, who were labeled as Mexican or Latino. It's almost as if ICE is going after native features when they target immigrants. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has called for criminal charges while the outgoing Colombian President Gustavo Petro has called for an investigation. Next, the wildfires in Ontario, Canada have devastated not only the air quality of eastern Canada and the US, but particularly First Nations. While cities such as Toronto and New York had orange skies from the smoke, the Name-Gogisagogun First Nation, also called the Collins First Nation, was devastated as wildfires consumed this territory near Thunder Bay, displacing its Ojibwe native residents who had to flee by boat in harrowing footage. It's so bad, in fact, that indigenous leaders have said the native community, quote, burned entirely, according to CBC News. The wildfires continued to devastate Canada. In Brazil, famed chief Raoni Mectuctire was placed in intensive care after undergoing surgery. The 94-year-old Kayapo chief, who's been in critical condition, underwent an emergency intestinal procedure after experiencing severe symptoms. However, the procedure was successful, as he's being watched in University Hospital de Sao Paulo. Chief Mectuctire is known for his fight against Brazil's military dictatorship in the 1970s, his closeness to President Lula da Silva, and even touring with the rock star Sting. On the Taino, the exhibition Caribbean Indigenous Resistance, Taino Vive, in Yale University's Peabody Museum has closed. It went through Taino history in both English and Spanish from pre-1492 to the present, dispelling the myth of Taino extinction, and it was done in close collaboration with the Arayeke Yucayeke, a Taino community in New York City. They even conversed with Afro-Taino birthkeeper Sarah E. Serrano, titled Ahiakayoke, Land Speaks to Us, Taino and Kalinago Herbalism. The exhibition will now move to the Mattatuck Museum of Connecticut. And finally, the Native Lumbee tribe voted to reject a casino amendment in a landmark tribal election. The decision was made with double-digit differences, as 62% voted against supporting tribal gaming and casino resort development, while only 38% voted for it. Instead of casinos, tribal leaders have called on a 241-acre plot to be used for alternative development projects for the tribe. The Lumbee is the latest tribe to be fully federally recognized back in December of 2025. And that's all your Indigenous news for today. Like and share for more.
For more from our hermano Arnald Arnes, search online Neuamauta, spelled Newamauta, a Quechua Aymara giving indigenous histories and philosophies from across Abaya Ya La, aka in Anglo language, North and Latin America. And in news desde Nuevo York, La Ciudad, New York City, has renamed East Harlem intersection of East 112th Street and Park Avenue to Eddie Palmieri Way to honor the late Puerto Rican pianist, composer, and bandleader. The dedication celebrates the 8-time Grammy winner who revolutionized salsa and Latin jazz over a 6-decade career. The intersection, located in the neighborhood where he was born, now honors both Eddie and his brother, fellow musician Charlie Palmieri. Read the full story at abc7ny.com.
According to a recent report by elcentralmedia.com, the Trump administration has terminated its federal contract with the Acacia Center for Justice, dismantling a network of nearly 100 legal service providers for unaccompanied migrant children. This decision leaves approximately 26,000 vulnerable children without independent legal representation in complex immigration court proceedings. The funding cut followed a dispute where the administration withheld $65 million after attorneys refused to surrender confidential client information. Legal advocacy groups warn this lack of counsel will severely hinder children's rights and accelerate deportations. Additionally, government efforts to establish alternative representations have stalled, causing confusion within the immigration system.
And in even more migra-related news, Illinois' Head Start leaders are warning that increased immigration enforcement is causing severe, lasting psychological trauma in young children. The fear has led to high absenteeism and decreased parental engagement as families avoid public spaces. Educators report seeing increased stress, anxiety, and behavioral issues in children, disrupting their early development. Programs are being forced to shift resources from education to crisis management and protecting vulnerable families. Advocates are urging for these first-hand accounts to be documented and addressed on the ongoing community impact. Read the full report at illatinonews.com. In other Aztlan y Más news, community leaders and advocates gathered at the North Carolina State Capitol to demand mandatory heat stress standards, job protections, and increased investments in worker well-being. Under the slogan, Protect Workers, Not Profits, the coalition highlighted the severe health dangers faced by agricultural and construction workers. Data shows these outdoor workers face a risk of death from heat exposure up to 35 times higher than the average U.S. employee. Despite these risks, North Carolina currently lacks state regulations for heat safety in these high-risk industries. The coalition is urging lawmakers to establish immediate, mandatory workplace protections against extreme climate conditions. Read the full report at enlaceLatinoNC.org.
And now, shout outs.
We'd also like to make another special shout out to Hennessy Pedro Parker, desde Houston, Texas, for providing his firme music and beats through the program. If you'd like to hear more from him, visit soundcloud.com/Hennessy Pedro Parker.
And once again, our camarada Veronica Aliel would like to give a shout out to all Raza who are in any way contributing to building locally in their communities. And then invite to join El Partido Nacional de la Raza Unida to build national political power. If interested, visit razaunidaparty.org. That's razaunidaparty.org. And finally, Aztlan Weekly would like to hear from you, Raza. If you reside anywhere in Aztlan and would like to share newsworthy events with us, or if you would like to make a special shout out to family, friends, y queridos, or an organization serving our community, or if you would like to share your thoughts, cáiganle. Shoot us an email at news@aztlanweekly.com, or you can visit our website at aztlanweekly.com.
You can also find us on social media. Search Aztlan Weekly and click follow, subscribe, like, or share.
Thanks for listening, Raza. Hasta luego.
Gracias.
Que viva la raza y que viva Aztlan libre. Es todo.
Minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.